Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Of course, the quarterfinals, and these are semi-finals, the quarterfinals of Euro 2024 kick off tomorrow. We'll be previewing them. Some big transfer stories to speak about as well. Excellent panel for you tonight with the Gal, Henry, Kate is here with us. CB, Chelsea fan CB, will be joining us very, very soon on the show as well. So make sure you've all hit the like buttons. Make sure you all are subscribing if you haven't done so already. A number of interesting, to say the least, stories to sink our teeth into, theories, fan opinions on these stories as well. As clubs now start to, I feel like they're slowly starting to accelerate transfer conversations. The first 2 or 3 weeks after the season ended were as dead as a dodo. But how are you? You're all well? You're all good? All enjoying the sunshine?
Yeah, nice weather, relaxing, good summer so far. What about yourself, Terry? Germany, you must be killing it out there.
It's been great so far. And obviously there was games on the first day we got here, but we went out today and filmed the football challenge. It's going to go, we have some short clips of it going onto Instagram, but we're going to edit a whole big thing together. And the winner gets to, so we've got a big caravan that we're going to be driving home in, but the winner of the football challenge gets to fly home. So their journey is a little bit easier. And yeah, there's some great moments. There's some funny moments. And somebody scores, I believe it's the best goal of the Euro so far. I'm just going to put that out there. Someone has scored the best goal of the Euro so far. And you wait till you see it. It's a great bit of content. So yeah, loving it. It's it's a privilege to be here. I want to thank all the viewers that have made it possible. And yeah, that's that. And I want to start on one of the biggest bits of news today that's come out. Erik ten Hag signs his new deal. I'm going to throw that out to the panel. Thoughts?
Not surprised. And I don't think it's a bad move. I think he's warranted an extension on his contract for getting you the FA Cup. And I think, I said it before, now, I don't think you become a bad manager overnight. And I think Man United are getting their ducks in a row with the board and everything else. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I do rate Ten Hag. I think he's just finding his feet. But for me, he's warranted that extension. So happy days.
I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it seem. First of all, your fans might want him out. But if the people in charge don't think it's time to replace him, or they don't have the right person to bring in, then you should trust your new ownership, as they have looked like they're starting to run the club in a better manner when it comes to your dealings off the pitch, in signings and just day-to-day workings. Looks like they're starting to get things in the right order. And you don't want too many changes too quickly, because we've seen what do you call it, situations where people sack managers and then they just get into a sacking spree like Chelsea did. So maybe just a little bit of continuity. And Ten Hag, even if he does end up leaving in a year's time or mid-season, you have Ruud van Nistelrooy there, and you have other people who've been brought in who could potentially see out a smooth transition to another manager.
I think it's been part of the plan since the new owners come in. You know, they've kind of always not thrown anyone under the bus. They've made it clear that they're changing the direction of the football club. They brought in technical directors and directors of football. They want to get a playing style which is attacking, playing out from the back. They're getting rid of some of the deadwood. You know, I'm assuming Casemiro will be gone. Varane's going to be gone soon as well, if he hasn't already left to join the club in Italy. And they've put a couple of bids in on the right players. I think it's you know, they've got to back the manager. You know, whether that's giving him a new contract and giving them players he wants, whether that's, you know, identifying what else the club needs to go in the right direction. But I think it was always coming since the new owners come in. At least give him a year under the new ownership. If there's no improvements, like Igal said, you've got a Van Nistelrooy who's in the wing waiting. Whether, I think there's a bit of a Dutch revolution going on. You know, they're linked with Ligt, they're linked with Joshua Zirkzee. They're bringing in Van Nistelrooy. They brought in the Go Ahead Eagles manager. It seems like there's a bit of a Dutch vibe going on at Man United, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because they've got some good players. But I think give him a year under the new ownership. If it doesn't pan out, then you've got another manager already at the club waiting and ready. So, yeah, I think it's a good move.
Do you know what? Like, I appreciate the positivity. Like, hearing it as a United fan, it's good. I think the last few days have been really interesting. I'm a little out of the loop compared to normal because I'm here and been sort of different type of busy to where I am normally. But I expected the new deal. There are reports that it isn't in fact a new deal. And this is, I want some more clarity on this. It's been touted as a new deal by the club, but then some journalists have just said it's an extension of his current deal. He'll keep the manager title, still gets his transfer veto. If that's true, I'm not as enthused as I was, because I thought the idea was he'd get a new deal. He'd now be the head coach. He'd lose his transfer veto. If we're trying to create this new world, but yet Ten Hag still has the control and power that he had prior, it doesn't mean they're going to let him act on it, because he still had to get sign off from people above him for most things. But it's going to create a tension. It's going to create a problem. It's going to create some issues. So that's my concern. That it's just like I said, a triggered extension, and nothing's changed in terms of the makeup of his deal. Doesn't mean I'm going to act like a lot of the childish, immature United fans I've seen online this last week, where they're just throwing their toys out their pram with every single decision that's going on. I'm still going to be objective. I'm still going to see the fruits of its labor. But I do hope that some of his controls and powers have been changed that reflect that of a head coach compared to a manager, because the other decisions that we're making, the bringing in the likes of Vervel and Dan Ashworth, it was kind of great to see Dan Ashworth actually speak to it. It was writing, but a statement from him, bringing all those individuals in, but then having a manager that has power that supersedes them, it feels like you're going against the grain. It feels like you'll be going against the process. And to start the new project and phase one, to start that all off, that would feel like a bit of a backward step to me. So I'm not going to sit here and just paint everything as sweet and rosy. But if it turns out it's a complete new deal, I'll be a little bit happier with it. But we have decided to stick with him, and he re-interviewed for his job. We interviewed other people, and I think listen, the club has made a decision. That Barada and Ashworth and all these guys have made a decision that of everybody they spoke to and the direction they want to go in, they believe this individual was the best available manager to start this process off with. And look, this could still end in disaster for Man United. I'm very aware of that, but I do feel encouraged, not just with some of their decision making, even the amount of money we're looking to spend on players. Now, you get a lot of people that will say it's Glazonomics. You know, they've sacked 250 members of staff, and that's to save 8 million quid. I saw Terry Christian, I think his name was called Christian Terry, one of the two. He's a semi-celebrity in England, talk about the redundancies and how he thinks that Sir Jim and Co will start taking dividends in the same way the Glazers soon. I personally don't see that. And if I'm proven to be wrong, then I'll apologize for being wrong and I'll condemn them. But I think we're making a lot of the right decisions. I don't agree with all of them, but that doesn't mean they're right. So I've said all along, I'm going to wait to see the fruits of this labor. I'm going to sit back, and they've given him a new deal. It's not exactly a long new deal. And if he fouls and we don't improve under him, he'll be moved on. But I will quote the people that wanted him to stay. And I think that this argument always held water, which I always agreed with. Let's see him now under a proper structure. Let's see if there is an improvement. Let's see it now where he's being maybe made to play a particular way that that we all got used to when he was at Ajax. So I'm relatively supportive. I don't necessarily believe the idea that we've done this just so that we can sack him in September and bring in Gareth Southgate. I hope that doesn't happen, but I don't believe it will either. It feels a little bit too conspiratorial for me, a little bit too tinfoil hat. If we were going to do that, why would you give him a new deal so that's even more expensive to sack him? Why would you not just...
It's a short deal, Terry, intentionally.
Yeah, I know. And I get it. I get it's a short deal, but what I mean is it depends on what people are saying here, because it's an extension. What did he sign? A 4-year deal when he first arrived?
Yeah.
So he's still got 2 years left and have added another year to it. So that's a 3-year deal. If you were going to get rid of him in September, you wouldn't give him a new deal. You just sack him in because you made it a year more expensive. And this is why you've got to be careful with what stories you believe. If you believe the people that are spouting that are the same people stating that we're only sacking people so they can take dividends out the club. So you're telling me they're penny pinchers, but they've just extended a contract, so it's more expensive to sack a manager. The maths ain't mathing for me. You can't be a penny pincher then also do things that cost you more money. So look, they're going to stick with him. It remains to be seen whether it's going to work, but I hope it does. And I hope everyone that's against it is wrong, not because I want to be right and I want you to be wrong. I want Man United to fucking improve. And I think Man United fans have got to start thinking a little bit more along those lines. And I really hope I am personally right. I think that's becoming a bit boring in the fan space, if that makes sense.
Terry, fans are going to be fans, and no matter what, they're never going to be happy. There's going to be something they're going to be angry about. You could be winning the league every year like Man City and still have certain fans that are somewhat miserable about something.
I don't know. But I get you. You're right. But I think social media has changed it. And listen, I work in this space, so I'm not against anybody making I think some people feel they have no value, no equity. They feel that nobody listens to them unless they're angry. I genuinely believe there are people out there like me and Lee Gunner used to speak about this a lot, and people would always have a go at him saying you only get views, you only make money when Arsenal lose, and we all know, Henry knows him well, that was not true. Lee would get great views on videos where things went well for Arsenal, but there are some content creators who I don't think know that, unlike Lee, unlike yourself, Igal, I think I put myself in this category. I know my value whether I'm angry or sad, whether I'm happy, jubilant, annoyed. I know my worth. I think there are some people online, and I'm talking more about the Twitter people than I am maybe the content creators on YouTube. But I think they feel like if I'm not being derogatory, if I'm not being angry, if I'm not finding something to be upset about, maybe people will stop retweeting, people will stop listening, people will start unfollowing. Yeah, there are some delusional people as well, but I believe more have become almost addicted to the attention that negativity gave them. And I saw it when Ten Hag was doing quite well in his first 6 months, and these people, I went and looked at some of their tweets when we started doing badly again. During the period we were doing well, they were getting tweets with 3 or 4 likes. As soon as we started doing badly again, 5,000, 6,000, and I think people are really addicted to that. So I just think you've got to. Yeah, so I think there's a combination of everything there. But Man United fans should be wanting this to work. Any Man United fan not wanting this to work, I'm challenging your love for the football club, because wanting it to work is a good thing. And they see it's the only reason you are not going to want it to work is because you want to be angry or because you want to be right. And if both of those things come with the club failing, you can't love Man United football.
Is there people saying Ineos out already as jokes or like dead serious?
I mean, I don't know. Ten Hag out already. Oh, sorry, Ten Hag and Ineos. Sorry,
Ineos.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that think they're just going to be exactly like the Glazers. So far, most of their decisions to me don't look like the Glazers. Now, some will say, well, they're sacking 250 people to save money. That's the Glazonomics. I feel like the Glazonomics have been more about wasting money. They've wasted money on loan repayments. They've wasted money being overstaffed. They've wasted money on signings. They've wasted money on player wages. I think when you run more efficiently, you garner more respect. More respect means even your own players take you more seriously, which I think that reflects itself on the football pitch. Companies that, when you go to work, if you know the offices are tidy, everything's efficient, your boss is on time, high standards are applied everywhere, you typically work harder as a person. If you turn up and it's a bit of a joke, everybody downs tools, whether you like it or not. It's just a natural thing that humans do. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, if I'm being honest with you. Who made Terry the voice of the fan base? No one, Jamie. I'm giving my opinion.
His opinion. Stop getting touchy.
The same as you just, you ask a question, you give opinions, Jamie, all day in my comment sections, bro. I didn't say that I speak for other fans. I'm just stating, and I stand by this. If you think we're going to fail under Ineos or Ten Hag, and you want to be right, that we fail, I question your love for the club. If you want to be right and that you being right means that the failure happens, that's weird. That is so weird to me. And
how many signings?
There we go.
How many signings do you think Man United will make this summer? And if you could, what positions would you bring in?
So if you look at it now, we're linked with Ligt, we're linked with Saliba, Branthwaite. So we're definitely looking at a centre back or two. I think that's going to happen. I'm quite happy with everybody we're linked to. I get the question marks over all of them. Branthwaite, Todibo were probably more top of my list. I don't think Ligt is as bad as people are making out personally. I don't think a lot of people have watched him as regularly. They're just like, well, he weren't wanted by those teams, so he must not be good enough. It's a fair challenge, but I'm quite happy with it. We're going to look at a striker. It looks like Joshua Zirkzee could be the individual that we sign. Again, I'm not looking at him and thinking, wow, we're going to be amazing. But what I am focusing on is most of the seasons, and even Moyes' season, we did it when we signed Mata in the January. We have signed so many players from Mata, Falcao, Di Maria, Pogba, Zlatan. The list goes on and on. Sancho. And for one reason or another, those signings captured our imaginations, made us buzz, but none of them helped push us to the next level. The fact now we're kind of looking at players that we all look at as good, maybe very good, much more conservative prices, slightly lower salaries. Some will say, well, it's like Glazonomics, you're cutting corners. How can you build a team that's going to work? And maybe this is a bit of copium. But my view of it is it feels different to what we've done before. And what we've done before for 10 years hasn't worked. So I don't want the new regime to continue down that road. For me, just going out this summer and buying a few star names and adding them to an environment that wasn't maybe ready for players of that level is ridiculous. I think you need to improve the training ground, improve the stadium, get the squad playing better football first. We've tried to add star quality to the dysfunctional team before, and it hasn't worked for a decade. Yet some Man United fans want us to add stars to a team that is still currently dysfunctional. And I can't. The bit that probably irks me as a United fan is that we're kind of ignoring the last 10 years of our history and asking the new owners to do the exact same thing we've moaned about the Glazers doing. I just don't understand that logic. So I think we'll sign a centre-back or two. I think we'll sign up some forwards. I think we have to address the central midfield area as well. It looks like we are with Ugarte. So, yeah, if we end up with Saliba and Branthwaite, Ugarte, Xerxes, and maybe somebody else, I'd be quite infused with that as our first summer in this restructuring. I think we'll add some good quality, some good technical football players. Equally, it's very hard to judge until we know how we're going to play next season. And that's the problem with Man United. We all want the answers now. Now, I don't want to know how we're going to play right now. Why would I want my club explaining to the world how we're going to play football? You almost want it to be a little bit of a surprise. Pre-season will give some of it away, and I think when pre-season starts in about 10 days' time, that's when you can really start to look at there's rumors that we might go to 3 at the back next season as an example. So if that happens, that changes who I want us to buy. So it's very difficult, if that makes sense. Mario here says, he says, a hypocrite, this guy. He does what he speaks, but plays the other character. Mario, you must be the burner account for Mr. Hassan, because you say that all the time. But anyone who's watched my show long enough and Gal streamed with me long enough to know everything I'm saying now is what I've complained about Man United getting wrong for over a decade. So now we're doing the opposite is the reason why I'm not panicking. I'm not happy with every decision. And there is still a part of me that wants those superstar signings. But I'm not panicking because we're changing direction. We're doing something different. And I don't know if it will work. I have hope it will. I have faith that it maybe will. But I would be more concerned if we were just doing the same thing as we've done previously, failing. Why would you do that?
Just watch the Watford stream when you lost it. that would be a good one.
Someone here said, "How are you doing the opposite?" Did I not make it clear? Or maybe I was waffling.
I think people are just choosing not to listen because they feel like anybody who gives objective opinions that are positive are on one side of the coin.
Well, this is what he says here. He says, you're only looking at the positives, but that isn't true. I don't know when you started tuning in. I spoke about how I'm unsure about this new deal. If the reports are true that he's been offered, he hasn't lost his veto and his power as an example. I've very much stated I'm not sure if it's going to work. All I've said is that I'm not going to throw my toys at the pram. I've stated that there are question marks over some of the signings, which I agree with. I've stated that I'm not sure if it's going to work. That isn't being positive about everything. That is being objective and that is being balanced. What I'm not doing, and maybe what you want to see, is me going absolutely radio rental over these decisions before I've even seen a ball kicked yet. I'm going to keep my powder dry. If, though, we look awful at the start of the season, the new signings are bums, we don't change the style of football in any capacity, I will condemn what they have done.
That's what he wanted to hear.
But I can't condemn something until I see it. I don't know what it's going to look like. Nobody does. I'm not going to show my ass about. No one has any idea. So until I see it, and I think it could work, I also am open to the fact it might not. I'm just not going in hard right now because that would make me the biggest hypocrite. I've asked the football decision makers for 10 years. I have them now. I believe that I now have to give them a little bit of time to breathe and get things right, as opposed to switching on them day one like I did at Woodward. That's weird behavior for me. It's like, imagine you have a member of staff at work who you are fuming with because they're always doing a bad job. You sack them. You employ somebody new, and on their first day, you treat them like the previous member of staff that you were fuming with. That is a ridiculous way to live your life. It's unhealthy. It's ridiculous. It won't yield good results. Man United fans got to learn to calm down a little bit for me. But yeah, I wanted to ask you all actually about Ligt. Kate, what do you make of Ligt coming into Man United? Potentially. I don't think
it's a bad idea. I mean, we all know that he played under Ten Hag before. I don't see it happening. I think there's so many stories at the minute going round, but I've seen a lot of people criticise the idea of him coming in, but I don't really see what the issue is. He played well when he played under Ten Hag before. What I'm interested most to see is kind of like what you said, Terry. I want to see what style of play is going to go down this guy, because one of his major criticisms with Ten Hag last season was that no one really knew what his style of play was. It seemed like he didn't have one. With all these Dutch links coming in, is he going to try and play the Ajax way? Or is he still going to stay away from that style of play? So it's going to be fascinating to see what he does with the team. But I don't see De Ligt happening. But if it does happen, I think it's a good move. I see people saying he's the Dutch Maguire. I don't see it. I think he's a good player, but everyone's different.
Maybe that's the profile they want. Somebody tall to match up with Lisandro Martinez. Somebody more physical. Somebody a lot just more also, he's worked with him before too, so that might be also another factor.
I think he's a bit disrespected, to be honest. Like he's only 24. Yeah, he's captained. He's the youngest ever Dutch captain. He's won 2 league titles. Well, obviously at Juve and Bayern. In a back three, he can kind of play in that central centre back role with Martinez on the left and maybe Saliba on the right. I would question who goes in the midfield if Man United go to a back three, but people speak about him like he's absolutely knack. He's awful. He's terrible. He's not terrible. You don't come out of one of the best academies in the world. I mean, okay, fair enough. He hasn't gone to the heights we thought he would when he left for the move to Juve. But
people said he was the next Bonucci or Chiellini. And then
that's a little bit over the top. But he
went to Bayern, and people are like, he's going to replace Hummels. This is the guy.
Nah.
And it's now they're already looking to let him go. It's more people giving him side eye on why is he looking to leave all these places rather than actually judging his footballing ability.
I don't think he's guaranteed. The weird thing is, since they brought Dyer in, which just sounds absolutely obscene talking about it, he hasn't started an awful amount of games. They've got Kim Min-jae, and they're now looking at Jonathan Tah. I mean, but he's probably not happy there, and he's probably thinking, well, hang on, I played my best football under Erik ten Hag. You got Van Nistelrooy there now. Now the new go-ahead Eagles. And, Joshua Zirkzee's potentially going to be going there. I don't think he's a terrible player. There's a lot of reports I've just sent literally on Twitter right now that the actual fans, someone just said it in the chat, the fans are actually were unhappy with him because of Montreal FC, just because of Tuchel, because he didn't know how to get the best out of him. I'd like to see what he's going to be like under company, but for Man United, I think he's a massive upgrade on Maguire and Lindelof. Huge upgrade on those two. And if they can bring in Todibo, I don't think they'll get De Ligt and Braithwaite. I think they'll get one or the other. But I think if they can get Todibo, I'm not sure what the ins and outs of it, because obviously they own. There's lawyers involved for it, isn't there, to do that?
Man United are essentially threatening court action, and I make them right to a certain degree in the sense of, they have to make it make sense as to why the RB clubs can do it and they can't. Some people have said, oh, it's because the boards are the same. I've gone and checked. There is not a single member on the board or football decision-making element of Nice that's on Man United's. So they are completely different. So that doesn't wash from me. And I think it's right for the club to understand it, because we've seen it happen between other football clubs.
Well, the City Group have just done it, haven't they? With
Savia. Yeah. I mean, they're not in. But they bought in from the French club. I want to say it's called Troyes. They're not in the same. They're not both in the Champions League next year. We're both in the Europa League. So that's the reasoning they're giving. But the RB teams, I swear they've exchanged players when both have been in the Champions League. I could be wrong on that, but
they did it with Sesko.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree. And I look at it this way. As long as we are going to pay a fair market price, I don't see what the issue is. As long as we're not going to say he really wants to join Liverpool, but we just need to reject those bids, but only accept Man United's. That I actually agree. You should punish Man United if they do that, because that for me is wrong. But as long as we're paying a fair market value and we're not stopping him from going to other clubs that he really wants to go to, then I don't really have an issue with it. But having said that, would the City Group, would one of the clubs that they own would the City Group say that their clubs in any other country, would they sell a player to Man United? Probably not. So why should Man United's associated party sell a player to one of their rivals? That's the only thing you want, is you want it to be fair, and you want
the
it
Red
to
Bull
be
Group, though,
same for everybody.
They got in a lot of trouble for that because it wasn't fair. I'm pretty sure it might have been Borussia Dortmund were after Sesko, and they put in a bid double the price, and then they come out a report that he was unhappy, and then 2 weeks later he's in a Leipzig shirt. There was a case on it out in Germany, so it's not like it hasn't been done before. I do think though, like you said, if it's a fair amount and there's no people on each board, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, Tottenham years ago, we used to own AEK Athens and Rangers, and the amount of times that we were linked with players back then.
Yeah. Feeder clubs have always existed. 110%. It's true. I'm not that person that. Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, the Ligt deal. I'm really in the middle with it, and some will say I'm sitting on the fence, and I could see it being a disaster. I could see it really working. I can see it from both sides, and the reason I'm not. It's a bit like with Chelsea. I've been exactly the same with Chelsea, but maybe people don't hear it because I'm not a Chelsea fan. I've criticized some of the things players have been linked to, like Duran, but I'm not writing off Modeska. I'm not writing off Dewsbury Hall. I think I want to see him at least playing some preseason games, see who else they sign before I start saying awful window, great window. They're going to finish 12th in the league. You can make that early prediction. And as they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. And you might just fluke it and get it right. But you're essentially basing your prediction upon very little knowledge indeed. It's a guess and a stab in the dark at this stage, as opposed to based on genuine football knowledge. And, even with the Ligt deal, it's talk of it costing around £35 million. He's going to be taking a massive pay cut. All these things are different to how we've signed star names before, where normally we're spending 80 million and giving them 400 grand a week. And then if it goes wrong, you can't move them on. This is there is a much more of a possibility that you could sell him on and get your money back, even make a small profit. Definitely get him off your wage bill. It's not like Anthony, who's worth 25 million. You buy him for 80, 90, paying 3 times his market value in wages, and you can't get rid of him. That's just that's what we're not doing here. So yeah, I'm not against it, but I want again, Kate. I think you said the most perfect thing. It all depends on the style of play next year, and none of us know what that's going to be yet. So it's very hard to judge, in my humble opinion. Staying with transfers before we get onto the Euros and stuff, we are going to talk about Calafiori, but I wanted to ask you about William Saliba. I'd not seen this all day until you mentioned it in the group chat about Real Madrid potentially coming in for Saliba. What's your understanding of that situation?
It's destiny that Saliba is going to get linked to the best clubs in the world, especially Real Madrid. They come for the best players. And let's be honest, at this moment in time, is there anybody in Saliba's age bracket that's looking anywhere as good as he is? This man, at every single level that he's played at, he's been an absolute beast. And I'm not surprised that the best club in the world, or one of the biggest clubs in the world, in Real Madrid, would come for a player. It just goes to show you how good of a player he is. Now, Am I scared or worried at this moment in time? No, Terry. I think it's a situation where they're obviously interested in the player. Kylian Mbappe, who's his friend, has joined the club. He's destined to join Real Madrid maybe 2 years down the line, maybe a year down the line.
Sorry, some breaking news has just come through. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted after Calafiori green light to move and contract. Arsenal have made direct contact with Bologna. Talks between the clubs have started. No issue on Calafiori's contract terms. So essentially, he has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. Arsenal currently ahead. No bid from Chelsea so far. So look, I have seen some Arsenal fans, like Lee Gunner was in the chat earlier, big up yourself, stating that he thinks that these links from Fabrizio are essentially, I don't want to put words in Lee's mouth, I'm paraphrasing, but a lie, not true, and that he's doing it to help his mate out. I'm not too sure which mate he's referring to. Let us know, please, Lee, so I don't get that wrong. But another big credible update. This kind of shows, if this happens, it shows me you shouldn't ignore the small publications from international countries that typically break these stories first. But we'll come back to Saliba in a minute. Calafiori to Arsenal, personal terms, according to Fabrizio, agreed. Clubs now negotiating. How excited are you about this potential deal? You're on mute,
mate.
Sorry, it makes a lot of sense to go solve a problem area that we had last year. The left back area was an issue. We had a lot of players playing in there. Nobody could really mark down and take down that position as theirs. And we had guys who are right-footed players destined to play there, like Timber, who was supposed to play there. He's a right-footed player, if I'm not mistaken. You had Tomiyasu playing there as a right-footed player. You had Calafiori playing there, who's not really a left back. He's more of a left center back, but he did a decent job there. And Zinchenko was injured for the majority of the season. Kieran Tierney, we know his injury history. So Arsenal are just trying to find a way to improve their first team. And there's not a lot of areas where you can really improve our first team besides trying to find a striker, another midfielder, or left back. So it's a problem area, and it's good to see that they went for maybe the area in which you have the most scope to find a player, and they just said to themselves, this is the player we're going to go for. And it's nice to see Arsenal going for somebody who's highly touted. Juventus after him, Chelsea after him, all these players after him. Usually we shy away from battles like this, but it looks like we're going straight into this battle saying, you know what, we're going to take it head on.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit pissed off for this because we were the first English club to be linked with him. Then Liverpool, then Arsenal, then Chelsea, and now it looks like he's going to be joining you. I mean, towards the end of the season, seen clips here or there, but in the Euros, that he just walked in. What is he? 21 years of age, made that left back kind of role. He's a defender who loves to defend. I think this is a good signing for you lot. The only thing I question now is obviously one of Kivior, Zinchenko, and Tomiyasu will leave because there's no way all three of those are going to fight out for two positions. And I think Timber will probably go into midfield. So the only question is, I think it'll probably be Zinchenko, but like Ferguson always built when he was on top. You know, he always tried to bring in the best players while he was winning league titles. I know you're not winning league titles yet, but it's a great start to the window. Like every rival fan should be annoyed at this because I think in a few years' time, I think he'll be a world-class player.
I actually said that. People seeing Arsenal agreeing a deal with Calafiori, already having one of the best defensives, they're shaking in their boots. They're like, how many defenders do these guys need? That's what I'm seeing. But if you really look at it, that was a big problem area last year. So we're solving a big issue with that signing.
What I don't understand, I'd love to throw this to Kate first. Why there are some Arsenal fans online that are absolutely fuming. I've seen some videos, I've seen tweets. Why are some Arsenal fans, in your opinion, fuming about potentially signing one of the best young, talented centre-backs in Europe? What is there to be angry about when it comes to that?
As someone who can honestly say I can't think from an Arsenal fan's perspective, because they're our utter rivals, I have no idea. To me, that's baffling. This guy is young, he's talented. I know Henry said that Spurs were looking at him, but realistically, Spurs were never going to get this guy in a million years. You know, he's got his pick. I don't think Arsenal will get him. I understand the links, and I hear what Fabrizio Romano's saying. I don't think he'd go there. Bit of that's hopium as well. But I don't understand. For me, this is exactly what Arsenal are doing. They're looking at these real young, talented players to bring in and build and, you know, ready for the future, because you want longevity. Once the success starts coming, which it will for Arsenal, they're on the brink. We can all see that. You want it to have the longevity to continue. So year in, year out, it's no good just winning a trophy and then dropping off. You need it to be consistent. So for me, if Arsenal get this over the line, this is an absolutely fantastic signing. I think this guy is quality.
Yeah. You see, when people tell you that I'm going to do my research, this is one of the players that you don't necessarily need to do too much research because everyone's already done it. It's already out there. And how many times over the last couple of years, Terry, have you seen Arsenal potentially being linked to a player and you're like, who is that? Nobody knows that player until Arsenal links him and they go and sign him. Now it's like, now that we have a very decent squad, we can go and spend more money in certain key problematic areas and get some of those big signings. Because when it comes to young left backs or young left-sided center backs, you can't name too many that are more sought after than him right now.
He's perfect for the way you play because like his actual position when he come through. I can't remember what was it. I think he might have been Rome or no. He moved to Switzerland when he was young, but his actual role is a left midfielder. So he actually gets up the field a lot, and I think didn't he get the assist to that equaliser against Croatia? So, and which is perfect for what you want to do, breaking down low blocks. Plus, at times, if Ben White when it goes forward, you go into a back three and he can play centre back as well. So, like in terms of the way you play, it ticks every single box. I think the three positions I think you need a DM, but now I think Timber probably will be that, and I think you'll go all out for a wide player. If you get a wide player in, and
we're not done. We're not done. We're gonna get a midfielder.
Well, there's now reports coming out. You're going to do 180 odd million pound this window.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Arteta come out himself and promised that it's going to be very aggressive this window, which is exactly what rival fans don't want to hear, really.
One thing I'm keeping my eye on is the Cronkies. Are they now going to be satisfied with being in the Champions League? Are they going to be satisfied with having a team that's really good up there? Or are they going to continue to strengthen this team and not let anybody try to catch up to us or overtake us? Because that's where we need to be at. We need to make sure we continue to strengthen. And everyone's talking about a striker. You guys understand that you don't necessarily need to sign.
I don't think you need a striker
right away. You can find other problem areas and fix those. And if we leave this window without signing a striker, although it would be underwhelming, in the sense that everyone was looking.
Is it underwhelming? Like, do you 100%? You scored 120 odd goals last year. That's not a team that needs firepower. You just need more goals from midfield.
As long as we fix our problem areas and we win, we go on to win major honors. I don't think people will care.
One of the problem areas is your left back, and now you're potentially going to solve that. So other than, I mean, I know Timber can play DM, but I don't think he's an out and out DM. But other than that, I don't think
we're going to sign a midfielder. I think we're going to sign a midfielder, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was someone like Joshua Kimmich.
So I don't think Kimmich will leave Bayern. I think, and now they've got Paulinho. I think he'll probably be. It looks like Davis is gonna be going Madrid to the end of the window. I don't think he'll go. I think that if I was an Arsenal fan looking at it, the big question mark is if Bukayo Saka gets an injury, who's on that right hand side? Because on the left you've got Martinelli and Trossard. Through the middle you've got Jesus. I know he's not prolific, but you've also got Havertz. On that right hand side you've got Bukayo Saka, and then the drop off. It's like flipping putting, Troy Parrott up front after losing Harry Kane. It's absolutely ludicrous. You're
100% spot on. And just to let you know, if we don't sign a striker, they're looking at strengthening the wings position more than just and spreading the cross across the midfield and signing a winger than just spending big on a striker. But if they ever change their mind and they do sign a striker, that's where I'm going to be concerned that they're not going to sign a backup for Saka. Signing a backup doesn't necessarily have to be a backup for Saka only. It could be an Eze that could be both a 10 and a winger.
I get that. I don't want to go off the Calafiori thing for a minute. I want to go back to something that Kate said. Why don't you think Arsenal will get him? What's your feeling around where he's going to end up?
I think he'll end up at Juve. I really do. He was linked there. They said the agreement was in place, and then it all went quiet. And now they're saying the agreement's in place with Arsenal. I just personally think that's where he'll end up in Juventus. But obviously, I'll probably be completely wrong. But that's just my feeling.
Kate, let me throw a spanner in the works. Do you know who Juventus's backup plan is?
Go on.
It's Caviar at Arsenal. So we could directly give them their alternatives. And then they don't necessarily have to be in the race for him anymore, and it would cost them maybe half the price.
We should see how it unfolds.
So I suppose your view, Kate, is that Arsenal are sort of being used a little bit by Calafiori's team to get Juve to finalise this deal, essentially.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of reports about Calafiori going to Arsenal, how it's not going to happen. There's ever such a lot saying that he doesn't particularly want the move. He wants to doesn't want to come to England, the Premier League yet. So it's just a feeling I've got. I'm hoping I'm right as well, obviously. But I mean, you obviously don't want to lose Saliba. Supposing you lost Saliba, how do you feel if Saliba goes, but you get Calafiori? I know they're not the same position, but I'm just asking how you'd feel.
I'm just going to tell you right now, it would be catastrophic if Arsenal lost Saliba right now, and we wouldn't do that. We're not looking to take steps backwards to take steps forward. We are trying to improve and win. We're not going to lose William Saliba, especially with the fact that he's just recently signed a new deal. There's no reason for the club to sell him at this point. And I don't think anybody who tried to come in, even if it was Real Madrid, would be able to would even come close to a valuation that we'd look at as realistic. You could put 150 million on the table. I think Arsenal would refuse it for Saliba right now.
I think Arsenal refusing to sell Saliba. When you guys gave the new deals to some of your top players, so I started doing that 18 months ago. That was one of those moments where I was like, oh, Arsenal are annoying me here. Because Arsenal have been a team predominantly throughout my life who, as soon as they have a good player who reaches top class to world class standard, where everybody's looking at them and rates them, they haven't paid them the going rate of salary, and or they've been sold to a rival or another big European club. But you've tied them all down to new deals, which I feel it feels a little different to me. Now, they haven't won a big trophy yet, like a league title or a Champions League. They won the FA Cup, to be fair. But if you do manage to keep the Saliba and bat away the Real Madrids and co, it's such an important sign for your football club. But this actual link to Saliba, I went and found the link that I think you put into the group chat, and that link has now been community noted. And the community notes state that this is again, someone just sent me this now. He says this is misleading. The sources at the Mirror do not claim this. They state another source from Mondo Deportivo have reported it. Deportivo's source themselves does not state a source, but just claims it's rumored in England that Real Madrid and PSG are interested in Saliba. So I don't even think these Saliba talks are real. It's almost a Spanish paper has said that there are rumors in England that Real Madrid and PSG want him, but there are no rumors here. And then an English source has basically said that there's rumors that Real Madrid want him based on that source. That is essentially, again, unless I'm missing the original sort of the original source of the original story. I'm just going by the community notes that I'm reading right here now on Twitter that basically state. I've been getting these weird community notes recently where they're not. I don't know if everyone can see them, but they're asking me to rate the community notes, and I don't really understand it because I'm like, how can I rate a community note and if I don't know the truth myself? Like, who am I? Like, do you know what I'm saying? But like, they literally. But it's again, so I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening this summer. I do think it's plausible that maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, if Real Madrid come in, that Saliba's head could be turned, and that's just because a lot of people grow up wanting to play for Real Madrid. If, for instance, Arsenal win the Premier League next year, the Champions League the year after, and then Madrid say we want Saliba, he may then turn around and say, look, I've achieved great things here. It's been my childhood dream. I want to go. And when a player's head is turned, one of the worst things you can do is keep them, I feel. I genuinely believe that. So I don't think it's inconceivable that Saliba doesn't end up at Real Madrid one day, but I certainly don't think it's going to be this summer. Not of all reading this report today. I mean, it's sort of been sort of ripped apart by here on the community notes on Twitter. By the way, another story has just come out from I'm going to get his name wrong. It's Matteo. I can't remember his name now. Sorry, I'm just going to look for it again now. The tweet from Matteo Morotto is an Italian guy who states that negotiation between Arsenal and Bologna have officially begun. First direct approach between the clubs. Arsenal are now accelerating above all the competition, especially Chelsea. The principal agreement has already been reached between Arsenal and Calafiori on his contracts. And just to let a few people know earlier when I said Terry Fabrizio didn't say personal terms are agreed, I'm telling you my interpretation. When someone says personal terms are not an issue, the only way you know they're not an issue is if you've discussed them and they're all agreed to in principle. Otherwise, you don't know. If I'm offering Kate a job but Kate's got no idea of the hours, the days, and the money, I wouldn't be able to say to my colleagues, oh, yeah, personal terms are sorted. They're not. If I tell Kate what it's going to be ballpark and she says that's perfect, then I'm going to state it. So let's not get weird about the language here. But that's two big sources. Look, listen, I get where Kate's coming from when you speak about maybe Juve will come back in because it isn't inconceivable. But at the same time, how many other stories, and there may be some, but how many other stories have had this many credible, verified journalists from multiple countries all claim deals are close, personal terms are done, negotiations are going on, and then there's been like a massive U-turn. It's not that. I mean, Chelsea did it a few times last year, but it isn't that common. It could happen though, but it's going to be an interesting. Go on, Henry.
What they're doing is because there's not a huge amount of Italian players that have gone over to the Premier League. You know, your Gianfranco Zolas, you know, your Di Canios and your Jorginhos, but there isn't. It's not like the Spanish or the Argentines or the Brazilians where there's loads of them. People are going, but he's going to stay. You know, the amount of Italians that have stayed loyal to the Milans, the Inters, the Romas, and whatnot. That's why people are kind of caveating it, because Juve are also linked, and they're one of the biggest clubs in Italy. The only thing is they've got Thiago Motta, but I don't think Juve can financially compete with Arsenal because
Not only
there's too
that,
much money in the league.
not only that, Arsenal do have a relationship with Bologna. We recently bought
Tomiyasu, wasn't it?
Tomiyasu off them, and they're actually quite pissed off at the fact that their former manager left them to go to Juve. So there's a little bit of bad blood there. Number two, Terry, I put it in the chat. There's actually reports that the Juventus are out of the Calafiori business, and they're not going to be willing to pay the 45 to 50 million euros that they're being asked to pay. So they're no longer.
They've just given 50-odd million plus 2 players for Douglas Luiz. Like they've also got to get rid of like 4 players off their wage bill. Like, they're not as rich as people think they are.
Well, the Italian football, that's just read that out. That's come from Romero. I'm going to butcher the name here. Agoresti, sorry, who has said that unless there is a dramatic late U-turn, Riccardo Calafiori will not join Juventus with a price tag between 45 and 50 million euros. Juve are not in the race. And again, that could be from the players' agents who are saying this. And maybe it's going to trigger the Juve fans to make their club bid more. But, I mean, Juve surely wouldn't share that news. Why would you ever share the news that you can't afford a player? I don't know if that goes down well, but, I mean, it's just, I mean, and that's the Italian press as well. With the Italian press, maybe they're doing it for, I mean, Ligue 1 could be right. Maybe they are doing it for, maybe they said the agent is a friend of all of this. Maybe they're pushing all this news to trigger Juve into bidding more money. Like, and they could end up triggering more money. Maybe it's one of those situations, potentially.
I also got news that 6 hours ago, Caviar is now a concrete possibility that Arsenal could sell him for, but Juventus are only willing to pay like 15 million euros.
If Arsenal sign Calafiori, how many defenses in Europe are stronger on paper?
I'm not going to say.
Madrid?
Madrid are up there, yeah.
I don't like that. Man City should be looking at this going, hang on, like what's going on? And same as even Tottenham, like what is going on here? If he's available for 40 million pounds, hang on.
You ain't getting him over Arsenal.
No, but put your name in the hat.
Man City are going for Theo Hernandez on France.
No, that's not true. That's another. Do you know where that rumor came from? I nearly got caught out with that today. That rumor, I saw a community note again before it's gone out. That was there's a website that did AI generated transfer rumors, but then a newspaper did a story on it like it was real. So it's
no way.
Yeah, way.
You're telling me all these publications got caught out like that?
So I'll read you. Let me go and find the. I mean, they might have deleted. A lot of people delete their tweets when they get community notes on them. But let me go and find the community note. I'm genuine. Yeah, because you don't get money for it. I'm genuinely. I keep getting told.
Oh yeah,
verified.
The Man City man.
I keep getting told by X. They keep saying set up what account is it?
I found it. I'll send it to you.
A premium account, is it?
No, I've got obviously I've got that so I can put bigger tweets in, but to get paid, you have to set up a certain type of payment account, and I ain't done it. And I'm like, oh, do you get paid?
They want our information to go to some security company. It's not. I don't trust it.
It looks like Tottenham are going to get Désiré Doué.
Who?
So the Manchester
winger from Rennes in France.
So Terry, the Manchester Evening News got caught out by AI.
Yeah. So have you sent me the link?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me click on it now. So hopefully it comes up. Maybe the community note's been. Is it still on there? Yes, so the community note is still there, and it says this refers to an article in which the transfers are suggested by AI. Manchester City have not made public or leaked any offer to Theo Hernandez as of right now. So yeah, the Manchester Evening News has been caught out by AI generated story.
That's mad.
I've never seen that in my life.
That's absolutely insane.
Thank God for community notes, because now they're literally like telling us these news stories are like sitcoms.
Yeah, and essentially the community notes, they wait. Maybe I don't know. Maybe my account's been pre-selected or something. I don't know. But then what they do essentially is they wait for people to rate then I suppose you go and do your research and then you rate whether the community note is right or wrong or relevant. and then eventually they'll put it out there for people to see. So maybe it isn't public yet, but a few people saying I'm lying, which is so weird. Why would I make it up, you fucking morons?
Harry, you can screen share if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to post it, but yeah, let me screen share. That actually makes a lot more sense.
Right here.
Yeah. Could you see the community note as well?
Everything's there.
Okay, cool. So you can see it. Yeah. So yeah, there's a community note, as you can all see. Like, I didn't make this shit up, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be such a weird thing for me to sit here and do. Yeah, but it says a community note, so yeah, it's not happening. Well, according to that, what I love how they wrote "yet" at the end, because again, this is the problem with people nowadays. This story is based on the AI generated one. If in a week City do bid for Theo Hernandez, people go, "Oh, you said it was wrong." It was wrong then. It was wrong then. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. People are proper mental, but. There we go. We've got a few super chats here. First one says they are using Arsenal. When was the last time an Italian willfully came to the Premier League? Jorginho, I suppose.
He's on Arsenal.
Yeah. Since Di Canio, Zola, Ravanelli, if it happens, I will be surprised.
Agent Jorginho, get it done.
Nacho left this summer. Centre back slot open at Real Madrid. But do you know what? I actually hope Arsenal do sell Saliba. Well, that's what I'm hoping. I hope they get Saliba and then Man United go and get Yuri. That's what I hope. And then we're sorted, bruv. But equally, Calafiori wouldn't be the replacement for Saliba. Calafiori's left-footed and plays on the left. So it's. I know that players are really technically gifted at the back and no one could play anywhere, but I just don't see that happening this summer.
I think people are showing their ass, Terry, because they talk shit about Saliba on a regular basis, and now all of a sudden he's headed to Real Madrid. They're like, I can't wait to see him at Real Madrid. Just goes to show you how much they rate your players, but they want to keep their agendas going.
He has been very good in the Euros, like biased aside, rivalry aside, he has been very good for France.
But you're not biased, bro. You're one person who tells it as it is.
Yeah, but I still can't stay in your football club. Yeah, let's can we talk about Désiré Doué, because it looks like we're going to get it done for 33 million. Does anyone know who that is?
It sounds like an Australian toy.
Well, it looks like we're going with Project Youth, with Bergval, with
hang on a minute. How do I spell his name?
Doue, his name, his surname.
Doue.
Yeah, his first name's Desire, Desire.
19 years of age.
Isn't the did you redo that thing that the music?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, them, man.
What's your
name them after an instrument?
What's everyone's thoughts on us going for like 4 18-year-olds?
You want to know something? You guys are looking at 4 years down the line. You're trying to do the Chelsea model.
Yeah, but I don't think Ange's going to be here 4 years down the line.
He'll be lucky if he's here 4 months down the line.
But those signings are for the
academy. Let Kate answer it, please.
I obviously said a joke about Ange being here for 4 months. Do you know what? The rumor is this kid is 19 and that it's going to be in the region of 35 to 50 million. For me, I think it's crap. I don't like this route. We need players that can walk into our team and make them better. Archie Gray looks decent. Whether he's better than what we've got, I don't know. Not convinced about this guy. You know, I'm finding all these links underwhelming. I don't know why we just don't go out and get Eze. You know, we was told this is our number one target. We're spending money, another 40 million if we get this other kid. It's going to eat into the budget for players like Eze. And yeah, it's for me, it's a bit underwhelming.
I think in terms of like outgoings, if Sessegnon and Ndombele have gone, Tanganga's gone to, I think it's Millwall. Yeah. Now, obviously, Rodon's gone. Royale, according to DiMarzio, is going to be an AC Milan player by the end of next week. And I guess Gray can play back, can be a backup to Porro, and he's only 18. Like, we're in 4 competitions next season. He could quite easily play 15 to 20 games. With the Désiré Doué, well, believe what you want to believe, but the likelihood is Solomon and Brian Hill will go, and then he comes in. But still, like we there's other positions we need. Like we need a striker. We need an out-and-out number 9.
This Désiré Doué. Every time I say it now, I think of Désiré Doué. apparently he can play on both wings. He can play as a striker and a midfielder. So we all know that Ange likes a player that can be flexible and play multiple positions. So he does fit the mould. But it just all feels that little bit underwhelming to me when Arsenal are being linked to the likes of Calafiori and we're being linked to the likes of Archie Gray.
This is probably a good thing because you guys are not there yet where you're going to be looking to sign that final piece to the puzzle. So maybe spreading your money and getting a bunch of young players with scope to grow, and also at the same time going for some experience at the same time. Maybe you get an Ivan Toney come the end of the window. That could maybe make things a lot easier for you. But I don't think you should be upset at the quality that you're signing, because right now you're not in the Champions League. You're in the Europa League. Also, your team, you need to sign so many different positions. You can't spend all your money in one. You need to spread it out a little bit because Tottenham are
they're
not
quite expensive signings for youngsters. You know, Archie Gray was 40. This guy's sort of 35 to 50. I'm seeing all different reports. So,
but it's better. But it's better that you spend the money on them while they're young, and you can bring them in and nurture them, than and have a situation where you're spending 100 million in 2 years' time for the same player, right?
True.
So imagine, look at Crystal Palace. Look at a lot of other clubs. This is how clubs lower down the table survive by doing this. And maybe Tottenham need to stop thinking about trying to spend, and maybe look at getting good signings and using your recruitment. I think I welcome recruits doing their job. I don't necessarily.
I don't mind that as long as we bring in Eze as well. If we're choosing this over an Eze, then that's where there's a problem.
What if you get Ivan Toney? What if you get Ivan Toney?
It's going to be Jonathan David. That's who the striker we're going to bring in. I'm absolutely convinced. I think Toney, me personally, I think he ends up at Man United.
Do you guys want to see these sweets? Sorry, changing the subject a little bit. I want to see these sweets. I love the name of them, right? Look. Elephant. Hang on. Elephant. It says elephant. I love it. Anyway, back to you lot.
So
what is it like?
If he's not a Man United player, then maybe Chelsea. But I don't see Tottenham going and forking out 45, 50 million quid. I think we'll look at Jonathan David and go, well, he's available for 25 million euro. 1 year left, get him. If we bring in Doué, Eze, David. I mean, we're now talking about Pedro Neto as well. I mean, we was all told that it was only 120 million to spend. We're already 40 million quid down.
How come Ange doesn't use his sources in the Asian league and get some of those,
or even Matt O'Reilly from Celtic?
Yeah,
like, he could quite easily slot in and play a good role. Well, we got all these sources, but the Ali Gold and Co are now reporting that we want young players, but that doesn't. That pathway doesn't go along with Ange, because Ange is 59. In 5 years' time, he's going to be looking at probably going back to international level.
Isn't it funny though? Isn't it funny you've got an Australian manager and you signed a player called Didgeridoo?
It's hilarious, but nobody's taking it in.
It's great, mate. It's amazing.
But I just want to know, what's your timeline, you guys think, to try to get back to being successful? Because if you're signing...
Well, and within 2 to 3 years, if we're already a year down, you're talking to be as in challenging. Then that's a fairy.
Just having a team that's competitive. When I say competitive, I mean trying to go for the league and trying to go for something else.
Well, if we get the right signings in, we could be competitive in the Europa League. But are we going to do that? I don't know. That's Fugazi. That's fairy dust. That's a unicorn. Like for Tottenham to be where you are, I mean, it took Arsenal 4 years to really start competing for major honours, and 600 million quid. Are we going to give Ange 600 million quid and have good recruitment? I don't know.
It's not only that, it's are we going to give Ange the time? Because if the results start a bit iffy in the new season and the fans start turning, Levy will pull the trigger. We all know it. I mean,
Ange is a winner.
Yeah, I agree. But I've had a bet with Jim that he won't last the season because I don't think he will. Yeah,
you think Ange is going to be sacked by the end of the year?
Yeah, I think he'd be lucky to make it to Christmas. But I don't want him to go.
So cutthroat. It's so cutthroat.
When did you guys become a sacking club? Like, I'm shocked.
When did we become such a loser club? You know, we used to be a successful club.
When did you win?
Years ago. That's what I'm saying. But years ago, the 80s, you know. I had Mickey Hazard on my show on Tuesday. He came on the show, and, you know, he used to win things all the time. But
he won the European UEFA Cup, Europa League.
The only time I'll be scared of Tottenham is if they get sold to a
question. Can I ask a question, Kate? When you say you think he's going to get sacked, Could you explain why? Because I want to understand why you think he'll be gone by Christmas.
Because what tends to happen with Daniel Levy is if the results aren't going great, which if he doesn't get the backing, they're not going to. We saw the drop off last season. The fans start getting anxious. The Levy out chants start getting louder. Levy can't cope with it. So what does he do? He sacks the manager. He's done it for the last 20 odd years. It's just what he does. I hope I'm wrong. You know, people saying whatever about me. It's not because I want him to go. We need stability at the club, like Man United. They need to stick with the manager and back them and let them build. But personally, I just don't see Levy doing that.
That's crazy.
That makes sense. That does make sense to me. This here says Mo, I think it means Judge Mo, says Calafiori will not start more than 15 games for Arsenal next season.
Mo's hating.
I think he
starts.
I think he starts most games.
Yeah, I think he gets injured. Is he quite injury prone?
Yeah, that's probably why he's saying that.
Yeah, I think he gets quite a few injuries. Big
Also,
up, KJ.
he's an Inter fan, and he's probably a bit annoyed that, you know, a great player's leaving the league and joining a Premier League team. But he knows the league better than me for sure. But I think he starts more than 15 games.
Hopefully we bring him in and our doctors can do some magic. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. KJ, big up to you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you later, Orignal.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. This year says no clubs are spending big. Even Bayern had to agree a sell-on clause to get Elise. FFP is a thing now. I mean, yeah, I think it's a combination of the money everybody lost during the lockdown seasons, coupled with overspending, and it's people maybe clubs thought they were going to earn more money. I also think people didn't take FFP and PSR seriously. I think they felt that I saw some weird rumors from Newcastle fans. And if we pretend to sell players, and it looks like we were trying to, we'll be able to get out of the losses because we tried to sell but couldn't agree fees. Premier League is saying, no, you stick to the damn rules or you get fined. So clubs are now probably looking at it thinking, oh, we're probably all going to break the rules a little bit with our current trajectory. So we're now being forced to spend more efficiently. And that's the right way to do it. We should not be I still see people saying that FFP and PSR rules are stupid. I think reform is needed. But the idea that we are going to encourage football clubs to lose as much money as possible in the pursuit of success is going to lead to dozens and dozens and dozens of football clubs going out of business and never, ever playing football again. We have to protect against that. And I hope it never happens. And I hope that these regulations stay in place. I love these rumors about Nicholas. Who's Nicholas Calafiori? You mean Ricardo coming to Arsenal? And I seriously hope Arsenal can sign Victor Gyökeres alongside him. Also, the new Man United and Tottenham jerseys, yuck. I haven't seen Spurs's. I mean, I don't rate anybody's kits. Like, I'd never wear or like another person's kit ever. It's for cheaters. Cheaters do that. And I'm not a cheater. Spurs fans won't give Ange a chance if he doesn't start similar or better than last year. Kate is right. From Garrett.
Yeah, bang on.
We've already seen it. There's so many Ange out already, and it's only been a year. I mean, it's incredible. The hate towards this guy already. We've
got a lot of games next season as well. Like in December, there's a good chance of us having 9 games. And, you know, we saw all the other big clubs manage their squad well. We were puffing towards the 70th minute, playing 1 game a week. That's the big question mark. And with all these youngsters coming in, I mean, is that the idea that they're going to come on in the latter stage of the games? I'm not so sure, but like I'm annoyed about Calafiori because if you believe the reports, Dortmund, Liverpool, and other teams wanted Gray, and we put our name in and got it done early, but like, just put your name in the hat. Just put your name in the hat. Are you all 3 in the same?
Yeah.
No. We're all in separate rooms. Buildings.
Oh, nice.
I'm on top of a bunk bed right now.
And you still look short, bro. You got this. Tilt the camera down, man. There we go.
This guy is an absolute giant of a man. But I've learned about David, not just spending time with him, but exercising with him. He's got a new nickname now. We call him Lenny from Of Mice and Men. He's just
breaking no rabbits, mate.
Hey, George. You wait till you see some of the stuff. Like some of the stuff from today is amazing, absolutely amazing. You guys haven't seen it already. Like some of it's going to come out on Insta first, and a full-length video is going to come out on what's it called, YouTube. It's going to be amazing. But
basically, every single one of us, we was one injury away from being pro ballers. All of us.
100%. If I only focused on football, I'd be class.
Yep, 100%.
I don't know about that, bruv. He scored a good free kick today, though, David. He did score a very good free kick today.
Yeah, but then but nobody knows that. But everyone's seen my touch of Lukaku just channeled through me.
The Lukaku touch was beautiful.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Because the thing is, when you see the ones I did before, it was good. And then the one time he recorded, just trampoline came out, and I was like, ah.
Also, strong signs calling me out, Terry, for my eating habits. Hey, listen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll ask the viewers here. To be fair, is putting mayonnaise on seasoned chicken and pasta right or wrong?
No, it's wrong. No, it is wrong.
I like it.
I'm trying to defend it. Huh?
I like it.
What, Kate?
I actually like it. And do you know what? I actually make a pasta where I put tuna and chopped up spring onions with mayonnaise all mixed together and cook it. Beautiful.
Boy,
you cook the mayo. You put the mayo in before and then you cook it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called a pasta. It's called a tuna pasta bake.
Exactly. And it's delicious, let me tell you. But if you have pasta with chicken, it's lovely with mayo.
Would you have pasta with pesto on it and then put mayo on top?
Correct.
What? Oh. Hang on. By the way, people. By the way, this is a little snippet from today.
Love it. I've seen. You got the other two. Talk to me. I can ball. You saw the other two.
You can ball.
I can ball, but that was dreadful. I can put my hands out.
What's that touch? One more. That touch was epic, bro. That touch is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but there are pro ballers with touches like that. So I can't complain.
Bro, yeah, the Twitter, everyone on Twitter is calling you Lukaku's little brother. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so funny. It's so funny.
We run the same way, to be fair, so I can't even argue.
No, one of the games we played was like one touch and shoot. So the rules were, if you ball was crossed in from KJ, if you hit it first time and score, it's 5 points. If you hit one touch, it's 3 points. 2 touches, you get 1 point. Any more than that, you wouldn't get any points. And all of my touches were fine. Not all of my shots were, but you guys wait until you see the speciality. One of my goals today was so good. Everybody else had to stop playing for a bit because they're in awe. I'm not even lying.
No, you can't. To be fair, it was true.
It was a good strike. It was a good strike.
Shout out the delivery, by the way. I'm just saying, shout out the delivery.
The delivery was better than the goal. 100.
No, it was great. Honestly, it was. I'm like actually so proud of myself right now. I'm just so. I was buzzing for ages. I was so buzzing. I really, really was. You can tell Terry is horrible at football. Boys, you played me there. Am I horrible at football for a 38-year-old man?
Not horrible.
No, he's not.
I'm all right. I'm just like, I would say I was
old.
I was again, barring when I played I played a friendly against DT's team back in 2018. So that's 6 years ago. And before that, I played football in 2010. So I've kicked a ball now twice in 14 years. I did all right. Do you know what I mean? I did all right. I was going to ask you, doesn't Terry pay these guys? Well, not to lie, to do a job, but it's all on video. It's on video. You'll see it.
It was actually amazing. Not gonna lie. He will never do that again in his life, by the way. one time.
Oh, it was. I mean, I've scored some good goals when I was at school, Sunday League and that, but it was the best strike, the best moment of my footballing career. It was, and I've got this little feeling, right? When I was younger, every day I went to football when I was a kid, like today might be the day I get spotted. Never did. When I hit it, I was looking around. Are there any scouts about? Anyone here wants a year deal? Do you know what I mean? It was great.
You know
It
what,
was great.
Terry? I've had to listen to this for 24 years with Jim because he used to play in a team and he scored from the halfway line once and he lives on that moment. It was like 40 years ago, but he still talks about it to this day. So
yes, Jimbo, my guy.
It was yeah, it's great. Well, we'll reveal no more. Obviously, peeps, we were going to speak a little bit of Chelsea today with CB, but he hasn't arrived. I don't know where he asked me to come on as well. So it's I don't know where he is though. But obviously some big games start tomorrow. See, these boys are going to be there. Who's actually playing tomorrow? Because England's a Saturday, right? Who's tomorrow?
It's France, Portugal, Germany, Spain.
Yeah.
Okay. France, Portugal. What's happening? What's happening in that game, boys?
Oh, I think that will be the smelliest, stinkiest game of the quarterfinals. I don't know what's going on with France this year, but it ain't hitting the same. It don't hit the same. Their team right now, they still got the quality. They still got the good play, but it hasn't got the finishing touch. They ain't as threatening as they used to be, I think. And I think with where Portugal are now, I just think it's going to be a stinky game. 1-0 again to either team. France could go out. But it's not going to be like a clean domination from Portugal. It will just be two teams stinking it out. And then someone wins by a lucky goal or some kind of deflection or something. Because even the way that France won, that Colin Mawani shot was terrible. He scuffed it, but he got a fortunate bounce and he goes in. I think that would be it'll be a 1-0. I don't know who to though. It's gonna stink.
I think France will be on the front foot, but I mean, both of these teams have been dreadful so far. So, it could come down to like penalty. Does Ronaldo still take the penalty?
No, it will take it. It will take it. Ronaldo's an emotional man, but like he still wants to, be that guy for his country.
However, if he cries again, he's got to be taken off. I'm sorry, you can't be 40 years old. Can't be 40 years old and crying on a football pitch, man. You got to grow up. You got to grow up at some point.
That's hard.
Can't open packets properly. That's crazy.
Hey.
Oh. That's hard. She's got the passion to win. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Don't get the
but you're in the middle of the game. Why are you crying?
Because he's in the moment and he feels his legs country down.
Imagine your teammate. You're playing any sport and your teammate's crying mid-game. You're looking at him like, bro, sort your stuff out.
That is true. That is true. But he's also the GOAT, so he can essentially almost do what he wants. Almost. I'd rather him cry on the pitch than walk off into the out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're choosing between a bad situation, even worse situation like it is.
No. It is what it is. Ronaldo will step up again. He'll probably actually do better now that he's experienced that and move forward. But yeah, stinky game. It's gonna be a stinky game.
It's not looking forward to it.
I feel like the France-Portugal game very similarly to Germany versus Spain. Although Germany and Spain, I actually think Germany versus Spain is going to be less entertaining than we think it is because they're going to be a bit more reserved because of each other. Where I actually think France and Portugal are both going to go for it and it's going to be entertaining. I actually think it's going to be the other way round because there is almost, I think both France and Portugal will fancy beating each other, where I think Germany and Spain will be a bit like, we've been the best two teams so far. I think it might be cagier. I think it may be less open. So I think both games will be good still. I'm going to go with a Portugal win though. I think it's going to be Bruno's going to have his moment. Bruno is going to have his moment.
Wait, Terry, have you been waiting 4 games for this moment from Bruno Fernandes?
He's played well. He's played well until the last game, but it wasn't his fault. He got moved into central midfield, but he's done manager. Play him on the 10. And Ronaldo, what's his name now? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo. That's rude. We need to chat about the BBC.
It was rude. The
BBC, now, whoever did that needs to be sacked, man. The disrespect.
No, they need a pay rise. They need a pay rise. They need a pay rise.
All I'm saying, you already cooked your dinner. I was about to say no dinner for you tonight in Terrace Towers. I'm saying I say that.
I can cook. I can actually cook.
Yeah, there is not the one to worry about. It's Tom. It's Tom.
Oh, Tom. Oh my God. Oh my.
The crimes against humanity, bro. The crimes against humanity. That
hey, listen, my main thing, like at least I'm surviving. Leave Tom by himself. I guarantee you don't exist in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if we left Tom in his house for 3 days, he'd be dead. He'd be starving, thirsty. Yeah, poor lad. Poor lad. We went gym for the first time today, though, and lifted some weights.
He did good. No, we're very proud.
He did good.
He did good. He did good. He did good.
He did do good. Yeah. But man's got to get in that gym. As we said to him, you got to get in a gym before your girlfriend leaves you, bruv. Like, because one day. No, we did say that to him. It's been great. Honestly, I haven't been away with the lads for a long time because I'm older. It's been like a lads holiday at some point. We've worked hard, but it's been some really good. There's been no alcohol at all, but it's been really good fun. But some of the stuff we've been saying to each other has been a madness. Most of it, I will pause on. But that. Pause. Who's winning out of Spain and the Germans?
This is the winner of the Euros, in my opinion. Whoever wins the whole tournament. It's like the final before the final. Ooh, I just think that the home advantage, the crowd backing their team, I think it will get them through. Spain look good, but I don't feel like they've been punched in the mouth yet. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they really have taken a proper sting. I know who did they go down to? I think they went down to Georgia. But it's Georgia. Like you back yourself to come back from that, you know? If they go down against a Germany, that's a different kind of fish. That's putting doubt in your mind about if you can win. That might make you make rash decisions. The space starts to open up, and then that could be 2, 3, or 4 potentially. So I think the Germans, with the crowd, the home crowd supporting them, with the fact that they can go win their 4th, I believe it will be their 4th Euros. Yeah, you gotta give it to them. I gotta say Germany.
I'm saying Spain. I just think they look magnificent. I do think the Germans have looked good and the home advantage, but I've just got a feeling it's going to be a draw full time, and then Spain going to nick it in extra time. That's my thing. But I agree with you, KJ. I think whoever wins that game wins the whole tournament.
I think it might go pens.
Cool.
Got this sneaky suspicion it might go pens. I don't know. I feel like I could see it being like a 1-1, and then someone misses a big chance in extra time, and then it goes to penalties.
And who wins on pens?
Oh God! Whoever goes first.
Cop out.
That's the bet. No, it's not a cop out. No, it's a maths thing.
That's true. Statistically,
yeah, it's a maths thing. But actually, no. Germans don't lose on penalties though. I'll go Germany. I'll back Germany in pens. They're just very, very systematic and just bang.
Yeah, I'm going with the Spaniards. Just simple as that. I'm going with Spain. 2-1. Boom. England versus Switzerland. What are we saying, Kate? Are England finally going to turn up and perform? Are we going to scrape through another game? Or are we going home?
Oh, do you know what? It is the most boring thing to watch that team at the minute. It's so depressing. But they're talking about him changing to go to a back 3 this time. This guy suspended and changing it up a little bit. I think this is the time we go home. I said it the last game and we just about scraped through, but our luck's got to run out. I just think Gareth Southgate is a magician for making such brilliant players look like dog shit. I don't know how he's done it, but he's made all our players look average. It's just horrendous. So I think we lose to the Swiss at the weekend, 2-1, something like that, maybe 2-0. We're just so poor. I think even if he whizzes it all about and changes it up and plays Bellingham in an 8 rather than a 10 or whatever, I've just got no faith in him. It's been just such a disappointing tournament for England, and sooner it's over, the better for me. Sorry. Yeah, it's really unpatriotic.
No, Kate. I've been out here since the start, and every England game for atmosphere, for pre-game for atmosphere, has been amazing, fun. But for drawing in the game, the England fans are so unhappy. Like we are just so disillusioned with the football, with the squad, with the manager, that really and truly the only reason why people say they believe is because they had too many to drink and they're just on vibes in that moment. That's it. But when anyone's sober, it's like, yeah, we're not going to do it. And yeah, Switzerland, they've been a surprise package. Again, they're a team that people underestimate each year, each tournament, and they always come out and get like a quarterfinals. They get maybe a round of 16 in the World Cup. Like, they're a good team. And we have a manager that, yeah, okay, look, if he changes his back three, I'd have some respect for it because I've been calling for back three anyway. So I'm not going to say he's a bad manager for doing that. But when he just believes in the power of friendship and not tactics, yeah, I can't back him. I can't back him with that. And he's been here, and even other nations, whenever we say we're from England and we support England, it's ooh. It's like, it's like I feel bad for you because you got great players, but your manager's rubbish. I've had that from French fans, Spanish fans, German fans, like all the fans that I've met from another country. As soon as you say England, they're like, I feel bad for you. Like, that's how bad the football is. It's crazy. So, yeah, I'm with Kate. Switzerland got something for us this year. This next game, and I don't know if we will perform. I really don't, because the performances have actually been getting worse. They've been getting worse and worse, and we was 30 seconds away from Euro 2016 bad. The year we got knocked out by Iceland, that was the levels of bad it was. And you know what? It would have been worse. Because at least Roy Hodgson can say that squad that he had wasn't that great anyway. You know what I mean? This squad right here, you back to get to the tournament and potentially win. But because of the manager and players underperforming, we're just not going to do it. So I think Southgate, he's got some kind of information on somebody. How has he got all these draws? How is he always on the good side of the draw every single tournament? It makes no sense. And yet he'll find a way to make it harder than it needs to be. God. My head was gonna be on Mars if we had lost to Slovakia. It's done. It's done.
We went from So go on, David. Go on, bro. Come on.
No, I was gonna say, from my side, it's like it's not been great. However, and if he does go through with this back three thing, and he puts Kyle Walker at centre back and Trent at right wing back, I can't really beef him, because at least then it's like, well, I'll put the players on who you all wanted, and look what happened. Like at that point, I'm kind of there, like, yeah, we might also have to look at the players a bit more. But before this game, it was like, no, this is Gareth. This is just Gareth. But as if he goes to a back three and then, like, you know, we open up a bit more and we start playing football and we still lose, at that point we're just never meant to win. So then I'm looking at players going like, well, you know, you're like, man for man, we're better than that Switzerland team. So
sorry, look at Jamie Wan's comment.
I saw it. Do you know what's mad about it? This is my worry. I don't really mind. I want him to make some changes. So if he makes changes, I'm going to get on board. But my fear is that he'll make some changes that you look at on the surface and go, that will improve us. But then he'll do something like, so he'll go to a back three, put Kyle Walker in the centre back position, bring Trent into the side. He'll move Foden away from the wing. He'll do some of that. But then he'll drop someone like Mainu and we'll have no controller in the middle. And because he's done it all tournament, he'll make a change. Go, Mainu comes in, but we're still imbalanced on the left. And then it's, okay, we're going to make this change. Well, you put Bellingham on the left now. He hasn't just gone out there and gone, do you know what? I'm going to put players in their most natural positions, even if they're not the superstar, even if they're not the biggest name, even if they're not one of the most Premier Leagues. He needs to get people in their more natural positions. And if he does that, there is a chance we could perform. And where I'll be positive is if we perform against Switzerland and win, then you're going to have some real genuine hope of getting to a final. And when you're in a final, anything can happen. But I think as fans, we need to see that performance. We need to see that moment where we say, okay, we know we've got players that can have individual moments of brilliance. Bellingham's done it twice and essentially helps us win 2 games. Kane has scored 2 goals at this tournament. And as much as he's been poor overall, the guy scored a winner in a knockout game. We always criticize Kane for his whole career of not scoring winning goals in knockout games. You've got to give him credit there. But if we could just get the system right, and the most annoying bit is, I don't think it's, if we had just a manager with a little bit more confidence and he wasn't so much of a coward, I think we'd have a real chance of winning this tournament because no team is formidable. The problem is we've got a coward as a manager. And if you actually go and look at this mad stat I saw that so far at the Euros, when we've been drawing or losing, up until the next goal's been scored, we've averaged, I think, 14 shots when drawing and 18 shots when losing. When we've taken the lead, over that same period of time, we're averaging 4 shots after that until the next goal scored because we stop attacking. And that's a cowardice from the manager. You've got the Spaniards won't do. Imagine Spain went 2-1 up against Jordan and sat back to absorb.
Yep.
They wouldn't have. They might not have gone through. You've got to keep attacking. Yes, you don't want to be too cavalier. There's a great line from one of the most inspiring movies of all time. It's called D3, The Mighty Ducks. And the coach O'Reilly says, I want you to be, he says, don't be careless, but don't be too careful either. And it's about getting that balance right. And if England can get that balance right, we can win. But I have no faith that's going to happen. Changes or no changes, there will still be what I call conservative elements in his team that will damage us. It will be, oh, I'm really happy to see that. Oh, why has he done that? Might go 1-0 up and then we'll sit behind the ball and absorb. And by the time they score in the 70th minute, we're exhausted through defending the whole game and we'll lose. And I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I'd love to win it, especially as we're all out here. And I want to have more faith, but I just don't have any in him. I just don't have the faith in the manager, if I'm being honest.
No, he doesn't do it. And then maybe this is a conversation for if we go out or when the tournament ended. But the more you look at this squad and you look at Southgate's comments about leaving, the more you're confused about why he did what he did. So he's essentially brought a rebuild, start again kind of squad to a tournament, instead of saying, if this is my last dance, let me just bring all the guys that got me here, who know me, who know the system, who has made it work for so many years. Let me just bring all of them along. I don't care if they've had poor seasons, but let's just bring everyone that we know is the system and actually go for it. So he just confused me, because you bought a team that is clearly lacking experience at international level, and you don't even trust half of them.
I don't know who was on the Top 6 show the day that the squad was announced. It might have been a straight fact show, to be fair. We don't do so many. I get confused. And that was my biggest issue, was when I looked at the number of caps and the number of goals. And although I understood why people were picked on the merit of their Premier League seasons, Premier League and international football was not the same thing. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of people out there who on that pitch have just not been, even just being away at a tournament has an effect on you. Footballers, people don't, they're rich, they should better handle anything. They're still human beings at the end of the day. And for a lot of these players, a lot of them have never been away for this long before. They probably never had the boredom that can happen. And you don't suppose they'd be as bored now as maybe they were back in the day, but they clearly go through it. There's all these different factors that he's got wrong. But look, he can rectify it with a good performance. And it theoretically can be rectified. And I do hope that it happens. I'm not someone that I know there are people out there that do. I'm not one of them. I don't want us to fail. I want us to win. I want us to stay in the tournament. I don't want to be right about this situation. I really do hope that I'm wrong and we turn up and we perform, and I'll cheer it and I'll sing with joy. But I have almost no faith, which is sad, really. I hate feeling like that about my country, but I have to be honest. I'm worried about it. And right now, my prediction, honestly, is that the Swiss will knock us out 2-1.
Mm.
You're on mute.
Switzerland, one of the best players in the tournament so far, which is Granit Xhaka.
Yeah,
he's been playing really well. So
is he out though? I've heard he's out.
No, he's not.
He's
going to be playing. No.
He's going to be playing. He's going to be playing.
Yeah, he's going to be playing. There was an injury concern, but he's fine. So
him and Rem Freuler in midfield have been really good for them. So.
Somebody has sent this through to me. This is the predicted lineup for tomorrow. So it is Konza, Stones, and Walker in a back three, with Trent on as right wing back, Saka as left wing back, Wright and Mainu in the middle, Bellingham and Foden playing more central, and then Harry Kane up front.
Yeah, I can't complain.
Yeah, I can't disagree really.
Yeah, that looks literally.
I mean, Cole Palmer, but you know.
No. Like that is as best with this squad that you could probably get, barring obviously Konsa and Gueye. But that has got basically nearly all of our best players playing, and it's also flexible. Say Foden or Bellingham having a poor game, you can take one of them off, bring on a Tony, bring on a Watkins, bring on an extra striker, and you've got players like Gordon that might be able to fill in at like a wing back position. You got Kyle Walker not having to go be the marauding fullback in the tournament. He can just sit back and defend and use the recovery pace. I think if he actually does that, I will have a little bit more belief. Then it's just about how they play on the day.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like it. I mean, if that's what, like I was saying earlier, like I'd hate him to pick this whole team, but then not have Mainu in there and stick, I don't know, Gallagher in as an example. It's those decisions that team could have good balance. And look, with Saka, yes, it's a wing back position. He'll do some defensive work, but he does that as a winger anyway for a Southgate team. I actually quite like that. We should have more width with that side, and that's what we need. It's the lack of width that we've had. You actually have Saka hugging the left-hand side, Trent hugging the right-hand side, Foden and Bellingham right in the middle. It could work. It could. I mean, the thing is, I'd rather us try that and try to win than pick the same as what we've done already. That for me, exactly. I want to see something different. So, I know viewers, let us know what you think and feel. Would you be happy with this change or not? Let us know in the comment section below. I want to get your thoughts and feelings. Some comments here. First one's, I thought Lukaku's touch was atrocious. Then I saw David's.
Ooh, you got a sting.
I'm a better keeper than I'm a football player.
Yeah, that is true. You can go. I will say everyone had howlers today. So in the video, everyone had howlers. Well, yeah, David. Yeah, that was funny, David.
My howlers weren't too bad. What was my worst howler?
Too bad, but you had like
what was my worst howler? I hit one free kick. I hit one free kick, and I'm still sad it didn't go in. Still sad.
That was good.
It was sweetly hit. It just too much power. But by the way, Dre's original volleys. Oh my! And by the way, you guys are gonna see. Hang on, I think I might have recorded it actually. David running. Oh, honestly, Lenny, man like Lenny from Mice and Men, 100%. Check Ronaldo's Woot ban for that game on Google. I don't know how to do that. Who's coming to the US for the World Cup? We are planning a trip out there for 2026. 3 locations, 3 teams, 3 rigs. We'll see what we can do. France can win ugly and can take it to penalties with Saliba guarding the goal. They can win ugly. Sack Kate now for that recipe. I agree.
Oh, nah. Respect Kate, man. Respect.
Thank you, KJ. Thank you.
When are you going to preview the quarterfinals? We've done that. I read of Mice and Men in my freshman year of school, which was 10 years ago at this point, which is mad. That's true. It's a great book, and David did very, very well in it. Very good character based on David. I'm essential. Hit the like button for us, please. This is Bologna don't want to sell to Juve as it's their old manager and they are not happy. I didn't think we'd get him, but then Romano spoke. Now I believe this was for Igal. Sorry, I missed it earlier. Iris is Igal. Do you realize that you're basically making up that KVR swap deal in your head? There's not been no indication from either Arsenal, Eddie, or Mikel about swapping KVR. You're just going off rumors. Well, if he's going off rumors, he's not making up in his head. The defender Igal, like he's just believing a rumor. That's a little bit different in my humble opinion. Bottled Elise, fumble Calafiori, my Chelsea. We'll touch more on Chelsea later on in the week. We're going to do a bit of a big show on that tomorrow. Look, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Not as long a show as normal, predominantly because I'm exhausted, got a lot of work to do. Tomorrow we've got Straight Facts at 2 p.m. UK time, and then we'll be going live after the games for the Euro matches for Germany, Spain, and of course France versus Portugal. Kate, always a pleasure, boys. I'll see you in a few minutes. I'll see you in a few minutes. everybody that's tuned in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you. Hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribing, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.